Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a big shout out and lots of appreciation to Abraham Muhammad, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik 86, Jeranism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Nagara, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Rene, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker and Tom Hawkins. So a massive shout out to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are currently in the interim stages between two live debates, so we do actually have a full panel of both Discord and G+, so it's going to be a bit crazy as I raise the mics on all of them, so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set it for the next live show.
Do that in the movies all the time. I always love that shit. That's what it seems like to me. That's what they're doing. All their bullets have been spent. Now they're all throwing their guns and then looking for rocks to pick up and throw too. So
yeah, it's baby dirty diaper tantrums. Grow up. Just because their bodies are adult doesn't mean their minds are.
That's why we don't pamper them anymore.
Right. Good.
Nice, Tim. Maybe you could just offer them a few huggies, Tev, man.
Yeah. they need a huggy.
Well, that depends.
As they get older.
Very nice. Very nice, John.
Yeah, so no bars have anything to say about prospective hijacking, hyena holograms?
Where's Waldo?
In a book somewhere?
Is that where the curve is too, in a book somewhere?
Yes, taken from
Not on Earth.
Camera somewhere.
Why don't you restate your question? Because I think Hangouts was somewhere else when you asked that question.
Hello.
Who's that?
Hello?
Oh, testing microphone. Now it works perfect. Is Antonio still here?
Back again.
Guten Tag. Is Antonio still here? Antonio.
Are you going to champion junk DNA?
I know this guy. I know this guy.
He's asking for Sleeping Warrior. Is Sleeping Warrior here? He wants to talk to Sleeping Warrior.
Antonio.
Linda wants to talk to me.
Antonio. Are you here? Perfect.
You talk to me. You're a fucking idiot. Why would I want to talk to you?
Oh, you still didn't solve the submarine thing, probably.
Have you found yourself yet, Zinder?
You just called that guy an idiot, but you don't know what 5 divided by 0 is.
So I demonstrated
Antonio
what 5
doesn't want to
divided by
talk to me.
0 in
Alright.
the real world was the other day with 5 coins, and what do you know? I was left with 5 coins. But on a calculator, you get an error, but you don't get your 5 coins, do you?
Highlander, what's 5 divided by 0?
Coins and I divide it
What is
amongst
5 divided by 0?
How many people have coins?
Highlander, what is 5 divided? Yeah, what is it, Highlander?
What's the answer?
Apparently,
So
you're charging something without knowing, but you don't know, right? Typical baller. I'm surprised you could friggin' tie your shoes by yourself.
It's a common trait that Blue Marvel Science can't tie his own shoes either.
Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard, showing up disproving gas in a container by showing up with gas pressure in a container.
Yeah, he's a fucking moron. Somebody should ring his employer and try and get him sacked.
Oh, don't forget he didn't. Then he turned around and put it in a container. So don't forget that part.
Don't even need to go there. He showed up with gas pressure in a container. That's like trying to disprove the existence of dogs by showing up and broadcasting live from a blue tick coonhound kennel. You're friggin' clowns, man.
So Highlander, what's 5 divided by 0?
That was a ticky-tack argument there, John.
quite a long pause, Highlander, for somebody who was just charging Sleeping Warrior. You don't know what 5 divided by 0 is. We asked you this, I don't know, 4 minutes ago. Still no response.
Error 37. So Antonio, you still don't want to talk?
Zinder, nobody's talking to you.
No, let's talk to Zinder, because Zinder's another moron. Zinder, what can I do?
But I want this for Highlander to accept that this is an L for you. Another one. And if you don't understand, a loss. Okay, you just charged the guy. Oh, you don't even know what 5 divided by 0 is. We've asked you, and we haven't heard your voice since. So take care now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll get to Zinder in a second. Come on, Highlander, what's 5 divided by 0? You said Nathan didn't know. Let's go. I'm sorry,
Highlander.
I'm sorry you said Tony didn't know.
Twitwit uses a voice modulator. She's a man.
Let's get off of that. We're on Highlander. 5 divided by 0, Highlander. What is it? Problem. Cat got your tongue. Yeah. That's what I thought. Zinder, can you tell us the difference between nature and man-made, please? Do you know the difference between...
I'm talking to Antonio.
Oh, shut up.
I'm here for Antonio, and I'm only talking to Antonio, so fuck off.
Do you know the difference between natural and synthetic? Please tell us.
I don't fucking care, dude. It's about Antonio, and I have 10 minutes to ask him something.
Another window licker. My word, people.
So Antonio.
So Zinder.
Or should I ask you that in private then, or write you a message?
No, you won't be
because
speaking
it doesn't
to me in private. You blocked
Zinder, anything in Riley's voice sounded.
Question: How? Listen, you won't answer the question of how you can have gas pressure in a container without some kind of membrane. You keep insisting that the gradient is somehow explaining it, and I ask you how do you have the gradient, and you won't answer it, and you revert back to describing the gradient. So let's address that. How do you have gas pressure next to a vacuum without a container?
That's not what the conversation was about, like the last year.
It's
or
on
so
now. Answer the question.
So I'm here to ask you a question, Anthony.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You better answer that question. Who is it?
I don't care about your stupid beliefs, guys. Just here for your last video, you made a statement that I would want you to clarify.
Go on. What's the statement?
So you talked about how big this vacuum chamber has to be and how thick those walls.
No, not how big. Just the fact that you have to have containment.
Yeah. No. We were talking about. I don't care about space right now. Just forget space, right? It doesn't matter for this conversation. What matters is that you said that the walls of those containers have to be really thick out of concrete in order to hold 1 bar, right? 1 bar is 1 atmospheric pressure. So
No, that's not what
I'm
I said.
asking you. What?
That's not what I said. What I said was look at the container that's required to maintain this level of vacuum. That's what I said.
Yeah, like which represents basically like the difference is 1 bar because a vacuum vacuum on sea level has a difference in pressure of 1 bar.
That's not what he said in there. I was on the show. What he said was a man-made vacuum chamber in San Ohio. He was referencing what they said that does with the 8-foot reinforced walls. That's what he said. Now, what are you trying to say with 1 bar?
Well, 1 bar is 1 atmospheric pressure compared to a vacuum.
What is the Sandusky vacuum chamber estimated at vacuum rating? Is it 10 to the what?
Let's say it's just 0 bar. Let's say it's.
No, let's just say what they say it is. What do they say it is?
I don't know. I just know that it's almost.
Well, you don't know.
Oh, so you might want to go check that out before you talk about it.
What a clown.
No, it's about the pressure
All the time with you
differences.
guys.
Zinda, what is your problem?
All right. So
Lack of
I'm
oxygen
asking
between
you,
his ears.
in order to keep. Oh, thank you. I'm allowed to speak. Right. So in order to keep 1 atmosphere out of a container, which is this vacuum chamber, isn't it? They had to build thick walls, right, of concrete. So
walls?
Do you know why? Do you know why they had to build? They had to build those walls
to
of
stop
concrete.
the atmosphere from leaching through into the chamber.
Yeah. So when we take a when we take a container with atmospheric pressure inside and put it inside the vacuum chamber, do you think that container has to have really thick concrete walls too in order to keep the atmosphere inside the container?
Are you saying that because it has thick walls, that somehow I've done something wrong, or are you saying that you think that I've got a misunderstanding?
No, I'm just asking you if you think that the container has to have concrete thick walls too when we put it inside a vacuum.
Why don't you ask the people who built it why they have thick walls?
No. I'm asking Riley.
Why does it matter
He
what I
didn't
think
build
in
it.
that context when the evidence is on screen for you to see for yourself?
What screen?
Why does it matter what I think when you can have the evidence on screen for yourself to see what they've built it out of?
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you then the difference between a gigantic
Don't
vacuum
us on
chamber.
anything, you frigging clown.
I'm talking
No,
to
come on, then. I want to hear what he's got to say.
Fuck off.
I want to hear what he's got to say. Come on, Vinda.
So I'm gonna tell you the difference before I leave.
Clown. You're an idiot.
Are you gonna rumpus me?
Demonstrated.
Fuck off.
John, let the guy speak. I want to hear what he's got to say.
Oh god.
So the difference between a gigantic vacuum chamber that has to keep out the atmosphere and something inside a vacuum that has to hold in the atmosphere is, what is the difference?
A membrane.
Okay. So look at a tire of a car, of a big car. Let's say it has 2.5 barometric pressure, which means there is a difference of 2.5 atmospheres between the tire and the atmosphere itself. It only needs a little bit of rubber, thick rubber, to keep it out. It doesn't need concrete, right?
What's the color of the big car?
So
hang on. So what you're saying is that you don't agree with the core value.
Okay, the difference is the enormous size this vacuum chamber has that has to keep out a lot of atmosphere, which is pushing on it, and the difference of something that is in a vacuum has to keep in a little bit of air in order for it not to escape into the vacuum.
Wow, Zinder, why weren't you there when they were constructing it? You would have saved them a lot of money by telling them not to build 8-foot walls reinforced with concrete with aluminum shell. You can just do it with rubber tires.
So you okay? That's you completely.
No, you're completely
get the point.
stupid. You missed the
Yeah,
point.
it's just
We
at this
didn't
point
build
is
that
just
vacuum
dumb,
chamber.
Cinder.
NASA built the vacuum chamber.
I tried to tell you.
The point is, in order to keep something like, I don't know, a
How big was
stupid
the car?
rocket,
The big car.
in order
How
to
big
keep
was
the air in a rocket, you don't need a concrete thick wall because the amount of air that is inside is way less than the atmosphere that is above the vacuum chamber.
What?
That's my point.
So are you saying that the differential between 1 atmosphere and 0 atmosphere is minuscule?
Depends
in terms of
how
pressure?
much of air you have to keep out or you have to keep in.
Yeah, but it's not about the air, though, is it?
difference.
It's about the pressure, the differential.
Yeah. So the reason why you need only a tire to keep in 2.5 bar is because the amount of air in the tire is way
What are you
less,
talking about?
and
What is
the atmosphere
Zinder?
above
Zinder,
What
the
are you
point is
vacuum
not whether
chamber.
or not you need different materials. The point is that you need materials in the first place.
Exactly, because it doesn't
Materials.
matter what the hell kind of material the box you're putting inside the vacuum is. You've already created a vacuum with a container.
Yeah.
That's not the
Can't
point.
argue with the rubber or with the concrete or with the condom. It doesn't matter. It's still got a membrane of some kind to give you the differential. So how do we have the differential in the
you're
real world without a container?
not gonna address the point at all.
You haven't made a point.
You don't have a point.
That
It's
your
stupid.
video,
We told you
that
this
your
already.
video is
This is
complete
nonsense.
bullshit.
It's an irrelevant point, Zinder.
Oh, so you just made a bullshit claim in your video, and you
You
don't
made
address it
the
at all?
claim.
That your claim is completely stupid.
How big was the
That
car?
you need a
Claim I made
concrete
in the
thing.
video.
How big was the car? You said a
What was-
big car. How
Zinder,
big was it?
Hang on, wait. What was the claim that I made in the video, Zinder?
That you need a concrete thick wall in order to keep out, and in order to keep in the air of a small container, which would
Yeah, you
be
need a
a
container.
spacecraft. You address a
didn't make a
spacecraft.
Claim I made was,
Go
and it
ahead.
wasn't a claim, Zinder, it was a question. The question I asked was, how do you have gas pressure without a container? So you're arguing over the constitution of the container is irrelevant. The question is about the containment, not the constitution.
No, the question is about how thick the wall of the container
No, it isn't.
has to
You
be
are.
in order to keep air inside
No,
it
Zinder, this is why you're a
for
moron.
it
It's
not
got
to
nothing to
escape
do with
into the
the
vacuum.
constitution of the container. What's required is the containment. So let's not argue whether it's a condom or a bucket. There is containment of some kind, isn't there?
That's not the point. That's not what I'm interested in.
I don't give a shit what you're interested in. I'm not asking that. That's a straw man argument, and I don't care about the argument. What I'm interested in is how do we have the differential without a container? That's the question I asked. I didn't make a claim.
All right. So why do you mention a concrete thick container?
That's what it is.
Wall
The
container.
container's made.
Zinder, what is the vacuum chamber that you're talking about? What is that made out of?
The walls or the inside?
The vacuum chamber. I'm sure you've looked this up, right? What is it made out
The
of?
walls out of concrete.
Concrete.
Which
Really?
yes. The point I got from
How
the
thick?
video.
Cinder, how thick is the walls made out of concrete, and is it reinforced, and is there an aluminum shell as well?
It is really reinforced. Yes, it is.
And
really
who made
thick.
that? And who made that?
NASA probably.
And how much do the doors weigh each?
A lot.
Do you have a number?
No.
5 million pounds.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're coming to Sleeping Warrior and saying, how come are you using that as a reference to something? I think it was 10 to the minus 6 torr is what they're able to mirror in that container, if I'm not wrong. But then you're saying out in space, where it doesn't exist in our world, but in your world it does, there's 10 up to 10 to the minus 17 or 10 to the minus 8, and you're there with 3 layers of aluminum. And you're asking Anthony, why he's making a comparison about containment.
Yeah, so I guess the real question would be, maybe you should go ask NASA, who shows you pictures of a second law of thermodynamics violation, why they have to create such a vacuum chamber with such thick walls, right? Maybe you should go ask NASA that, Zinder.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Righteous Force, Paul Hall, Jibby Jedi, 10th Man, Arwin, Chocolate Saiyan, and I believe that's Anon Moto on the end. Could be wrong. Hello, one and all. Good to have you all.
Yo. Hello. Let's get straight into housekeeping. Zinder, how do you have gas pressure next to a container, next to a vacuum without a container?
Oh,
Not interested, and my 10 minutes are over. So.
Oh, so you're going to run away now that we're
fun
live?
in your
Really?
little cult.
Bye, Zinder.
Right, that's okay. I'm happy to continue from there.
Don't forget to ask NASA
Ask
why they
anybody on the
created
panel.
such a vacuum chamber.
Ask anybody on the panel. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
Thought Zinder had all the answers, and now at Quantum being live, he's ran. Bye, Zinder.
Any evidence?
According to Zinder, you can just have a Goodyear tire as the eyes.
Okay, I'll try once more. Right, not just for the flat earthers who know that you can't have gas pressure without a container. Maybe the fundamentalist religious zealots with a bald belief and a sky vacuum would like to answer this question. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Why is it they all run when it comes to this question, Nathan?
Because it's the single strongest demolition of a heliocentric religion.
It's almost as strong as gravity not being a force and not being able to hold the atmosphere on as well. It's like, not only can you not have gas pressure without a container, right? You can't have a force that's not a force neither. You've got to have a force that does something, and you haven't got that either. So it's a double whammy. It's fantastic.
I don't know. I mean, their claim is that they live on a spinning ball, but yet there's no ball and there's no spinning. So, that I don't know. That's up there for me for one of the worst claims for this ball that's not spinning. There's no ball and no spinning.
Right. Say again, Travis.
Yeah, what I said is Blender Dick chicken shit here is in here every day and doesn't say anything. You should just start kicking these fools that don't have anything to say, just want to sit here and be Glovers and disagree with the entire premise of the show, but yet never have any nuts to speak up. It's going to be
Speaking of
ridiculous.
nuts-
There's
Feel free
fans of
to
the show
address.
that can't even get in.
Are you a moderator,
I'm
Travis?
sorry, pardon me.
Are you a mod in the Discord server?
Negative.
Feel free to speak openly to any of the mods, because I don't even know if I'm a moderator. I assume I must be to be able to control the show, but I don't have any control over that. It's not my Discord server. I should make that plain for the audience as well. So shout out to Betty, who runs Science versus Pseudoscience Discord server. The actual full title is Flat Earth Science versus Pseudoscience. That's the Discord server I use on a daily basis. It's not mine though. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I get to have what I get. So hello, new guest. Who have we got in the Charlotte? Hello, how you doing?
Well, he left.
No, he didn't leave. I moved him. You're right, Travis.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Got a new guest in G Plus though.
Hey
Hello.
guys, can you hear me?
Hello. I think you've joined on your wife's account, whoever you are. Therefore, we don't know who you are.
Oh, that's Chris Berry.
Who is it?
Hey Nathan, hey guys.
Who is it? I don't recognise your icon.
Wait.
It's Chris.
Yeah,
Chris
that's
Berry.
Chris Berry. Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Are you enjoying the conference, Chris? Or have you come home?
Well, so I went to the conference, but I just went and hung out. I don't have
So
a
you got to
ticket
see
or
everyone
anything.
that you like, eh?
Yeah, so I ran into Nathan Thompson and our old pal George Natchik. I got a picture with him. And who else? Karen B. Got a picture with Karen.
So, how tall's Nathan Thompson?
Before we get into how tall Nathan bloody Thompson is, sorry, Chris, I'm not having a go at you. You've only just joined. So, can we just get through housekeeping? It won't take long.
Hello, hello.
Right. Any evidence of Earth curvature?
No.
Not from San Diego.
Can anybody hear me?
We're doing housekeeping questions.
We hear you.
I hear you.
Excellent.
Spam the chat, please. Any evidence of axial rotation?
No.
No.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Any
They don't know what it
definition
is.
of gravity?
I have a question in regards.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
Nathan, someone said they had a question, maybe concerning gravity.
Oh, go ahead.
No, hang on. We're finishing housekeeping first. And
No,
there's a
that's
cue.
that's housekeeping.
That was?
You missed out. Is there any viable alternative hypothesis for many of the anthropology whatevers?
Yeah, but Riley said
We will do the rest of them, but somebody's saying they've got an answer to scientific evidence for gravity, so I'm definitely interested in hearing that. There we go. I recognise that icon, Chris.
Sorry. Yeah, that's my other
Okay,
account,
whoever
but,
that was. And
Yeah, that's not an evidence. It's just a question in regards to gravity.
go
Just
ahead.
playing devil's advocate here. So, from what I heard, from what I remember, NASA claimed that the moon is in the Earth atmosphere. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Affirmative.
Of course, we remember
All right,
that just happened a few months ago.
So if the moon, if they claim that gravity is what sucks the atmosphere to the surface of the Earth, and the moon has a gravity and is in the Earth's atmosphere, shouldn't then the moon have an atmosphere as well?
Well, supposedly this atmosphere extends to about, for when I remember, 391,000 miles. Moon's only at 240 about.
Yeah, so it doesn't have its own
So it's
atmosphere.
way past that now.
Yeah, the moon has our atmosphere, not its own.
Anyone else? Anyone else want to address that?
Right. Right. Should the moon then accumulate gas around it on its surface over time and have actually atmosphere in this
Right.
case?
Okay. If anyone else has got a rebuttal they want to offer, Rebel, feel free. And then, sorry to do this to Rebel. I'm going to tear a strip off you, but it's coming.
No, I know where you're going. I'm just playing
Go ahead and kill it.
Right. So what you're doing by getting us to argue this, and I'm also tearing a strip off anybody who had a rebuttal, is to say that this argument gets us to beg the question of space being real. So we're going to argue about how the atmosphere in Narnia is going to work when Narnia is not real. So the debunking of the region of space is, or was, discussed moments earlier when we started the show talking about gas pressure without a container. Well, there's no container. We're still talking about an open system. So yes, they recently, and I say recently, according to the documentation I read, it was in the 90s that this changed. They just never publicised it. Or they did, and then never, made light of it after publishing it in the first instance. Either way, they moved the Tor values. The numbers they claim are in Narnia. Well, it's our bad if we start arguing this with you, because then we're begging the question that space is real, and what would happen in a fake region if the Tor values they assign to outer space, aka Narnia, were actually in existence. Well, no, it's still an open system. Doesn't matter where they push the Tor values. It's irrelevant how they tell their story and what they attribute to a value at a certain point. Same goes for the Kármán line. It's an open system. In this example, the gas would fill the space. And that long, protracted silence is where the argument ends, which is why you demolish these arguments like that.
If you finished.
Yeah, it's just that's the way to end the argument, because there's no discussion about how the gas lamp works in Narnia. If I quickly go, oh, who cares? Narnia's not real, and that's what I'll do with every argument.
No,
go on. Sorry.
This was just simply to promote an argument against gravity while arguing with ballers. When they say the gravity is what makes the atmosphere stick to Earth. And I would point out that, well, in this case, the moon has to have an atmosphere because, according to NASA, the moon is in the Earth atmosphere and should have accumulated gas a long, long time ago, according to their model. So this is how I rebut the notion of gravity. One of the ways to do it.
I appreciate that, and I'm saying you're not wrong. The problem with the argument is self-evident by the fact that you're asking the question. Now, it's not your fault, and it's not that your argument's wrong or the rebuttal to their position is incorrect. You're valid in every respect. The problem is that when you're at that stage of entertaining that question, no offence, Rebel, but it demonstrates that you're not utilising the best tool, which is to say, who cares what they say the Tor values are when they're claiming an open system next to a vacuum? There is no space, it's fake. So it doesn't matter. Same goes for tin cans in orbit, presuppositional R-value inclusive, of course. It doesn't matter. You just debunk the medium and move on. All claims from that region are fake. Ipso facto. End of argument. But if you're arguing it, they're winning. That's the point. Because you're into an argument where, let's say at the end, you convince somebody that, oh, well, then maybe Coriolis won't be effective because they've got the atmosphere and moon's moving, and clearly they say it's Velcro to the Earth in lockstep, and it can't be if it's moving up to the moon with the Tor values changing. At the end of that argument, if you win and get the fundy to say, yeah, you're right, that kind of doesn't make sense how they've laid out the Tor values, everyone listening to that argument is still left with the begging the question fallacy of a sky vacuum, because that's how the argument ends. It'll never address the fact that space is fake, just how they describe something in that fake space that's not getting addressed wouldn't work. Like saying rockets won't work in a vacuum. Well, at the end of an argument won or lost, you've still got the idea of vacuum in your head if you're an audience member. That's why I say, no, cut it off the legs. Call it what it is, it's Narnia. You can't have a gas pressure, we all breathe it, without a container. And they're claiming an open system, and we're now arguing about how that open system that's got relative Tor values dispersing through the vacuum, not dispersing through the vacuum. This is nonsense.
Can I offer testimony to that, Nathan?
I'm done. You can do what you like. I was hoping Red Bull would get a chance to respond, though, because it was him I was addressing, but feel free to go next.
Well,
No, I can respond. Just hold on, man. I agree with what you're saying. My philosophy is I try to rebut gradually, work my way to the point of space being Narnia. It's just when you start the conversation with that, premise, it's hard to break through the cognitive denial. So I have to work this gradually up to that, with different bits and pieces being debunked.
And you're not wrong to do it that way. You know, I get angry at Anthony gets angry at me, QE gets angry at everyone, because he's explained something 10 times that's very self-evident, and, you know, he's offered up the best tools, or I'm offering up the best tools, or Anthony's begging the question, or I'm begging the question, and it's for that exact reason. You want to understand the complexity of the argument within the fallacy, so that when someone comes in already with the fallacy assumed, you don't just say, well, no, you've begged the question, you've assumed Earth spinning, or no, you've begged the question, you've assumed the R value, or, you know, you ultimately understand, in this case, space, how the argument is unpacked when you assume space is real. But it's the comprehension of when you assume space is real that I'm trying to get across to the audience. So in many ways, I can't do that unless you do what you've done. And it's kind of a fine balance for me as a host, because I've got to, in one way, say, no, bad, you're begging the question of space with your argument, but I still want the argument heard, so I can point out that when that argument's verbalised, as you have done, in other words, I can't do it unless you do that, I can't tear a strip off you and point out why it's a bad argument. In the same way as if someone doesn't come on the panel and verbalise their joy that they've debunked a rockets can't work in a sky vacuum argument, and then I say, well, here we go, I'm going to tear a strip off you, fantasy person that isn't real in this example, because you've begged the question of space to debunk how rockets would work in a fake medium, and the end of the argument is the same as this one. It ends with you assuming space, and space is fake, outer space, not a quantity of area or volume, but yeah, outer space, the sky vacuum isn't real. Just debunk it where it needs debunking. That's the strongest tool. How can you have gas pressure without a container is an address to that. And in respect to your specific argument, you're talking about the dispersion of a Tor value that's recently, relatively speaking, been changed, when in reality it's just, well, no, we've still got an open system. Who cares about the Tor values when they've got an open system in a vacuum not dispersing? That's far more pertinent and more devastating, I might add. Go on, 10th man.
All right. I want to offer an actual event that took place I've shared before. Prior to that, I want to go back a few shows. When the gentleman came on, he wanted to ask for some tips before he went on a debate, and everybody said, you're not ready to go on a debate until you learn these things. Nathan, you offered him two key points. One is gas pressure without a container, and the second one would be the scientific method. Do you have a valid hypothesis for your claim? And he thought about that, and he realized he needed to go study it a little bit more. So we're kind of spoiled because we're on the show all the time, and it kind of rolls off our tongues. But in an actual event, I was sitting with this guy in a crowded room where everyone could hear what was happening, but everyone was within their own conversation, but they knew what we were talking about, if you know what I mean, if you could picture it in your mind. So I started by saying, can you have gas pressure without a container? He answered, no. And then he went on to NASA, moon missions, space. And I said, you just said you can't have gas pressure without a container. And so then I brought him back. And in my mind, I was thinking, who cares how the gas lamp works in Narnia? He's going to die right here. I'm not going to let him take me there. I never left that subject of gas pressure without a container. And then I explained the scientific method to him. And I said, through that scientific method, the heliocentric model dies. And he was as frustrated could be, because I kept taking him back to his first answer, which was you cannot have gas pressure without a container. If he said it must be true, and I held him to it. So in regards to the old way of arguing, where you go into the begging the question, the fallacy, and you take hours and hours, and like you said, you end up maybe winning that battle, but you lost the war because they still believe in outer space. This is the better way for sure.
Off the back
Did
of
you not
that,
mention
thank you.
gravity?
I just want you to ask the next question that Anthony prompted to get asked about the disciplines of cosmology. I won't lead you too much. You know what I'm talking about. Can you ask that housekeeping question, please, 10th man? You say it better than I do.
Sure. Can anyone offer a single viable scientific hypothesis in the entire history of either astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Absolutely not.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Any evidence of the R value?
Definitely not.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of that presupposed spherical Earth we keep talking about?
Nope.
Did you want to move on to... Thank you, 10th man. That was a good little discussion about gas pressure, spurred on by Anthony. So, Anthony, you want to talk about how high is Nathan Thompson? Housekeeping's done now.
But is Thingy still here, though?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I'm here.
So how tall's Nathan Thompson? Because when he stood next to Owen Benjamin towered above him, right? But when Nathan Thompson stood against George Nathanuk, Nathan Thompson towered over George Nathanuk. So
Okay.
Who's tall and who's
like 7 feet tall.
So yeah, so it's funny because George is really, really short and Owen is really, really tall. So it's a disparity, right? So I'm 6'2". Okay, so Owen Benjamin is 6'8", according to Owen Benjamin. I didn't meet him, so I can't confirm. He's 6'8". I'm 6'2". Nathan, compared to me, is about, I want to say he's at least 5'11". He's actually a lot taller than I thought he was. So he's about 5'11". And then George must be, I'm not kidding, he must be 5'2".
5'2". That explains an awful lot about George. I can see why he's got that syndrome now. Little man syndrome.
Look, the guy's a disgusting human being, attributing this to his height. I appreciate that we're on an Owen Benjamin discussion and he's a height supremacist, but no, I can't bear to... I'm stuttering away because off air I'd agree with you, right? Wouldn't I, Anthony? However, it seems unreasonable to attribute a Napoleon complex to him.
But little man syndrome is...
Hey, Chris
Yeah.
was our friend, what's his name? The one that QE challenged. Was he there?
I'm not sure who that is.
Faulkner, Danny Faulkner.
Yeah, Danny Faulkner.
I believe I did see somebody with a picture with him, so I believe he is there. Yes.
What? Oh, well, it's going on right now. There could literally be people sat in a hallway watching this show. So
yeah.
if you see Dr. Danny Faulkner in the hallways...
I'm going back up. I'm going to go back up around 11, either 11 or 12 my time, which is in about an hour or two.
Perfect.
I'm going to meet Travis, aka The Plain Truth, who used to come here a lot. He's started his own YouTube show and everything. I'm going to go meet Travis. Maybe
we know
meet...
Travis.
Yeah, no, I know.
Chris, we have a mission for you. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, hunt down Dr. Danny Faulkner and explain to him that his new book stands in contradiction of a discussion with a chap called Quantum Eraser.
And tell him we're hunting him down and we're going to find him. And when we find him, we're going to discredit him publicly, painfully, and we're going to make him look like a penis. Say that word, penis.
He might not respond to that. I don't know.
Now, Anthony, that wasn't exactly what I had in mind. So we just want to get that video that was made specifically for him. And we just got to get him, someone to give it to him. Do you know the one we're talking about, Chris?
Well, I didn't, but I just Googled him, so I know what he looks like now. Now, it's possible if he showed up yesterday, he might not show up today. There was some drama, I'm sure you guys have heard by now, yesterday with some baller named M. Stone.
Yeah. What was the drama?
Well, listen, I wasn't there, so it's secondhand. But basically what happened is I walked in, and within about 10 minutes, I immediately saw Nathan Thompson. And Nathan and I meet, and we handshake and everything. And then he's like, hey, nice to meet you. I was like, nice to meet you. And the next thing he says is, wow, like I just got, basically, I'm using the word attacked. He didn't use that word. Attacked by this guy named M. Stone. And he came up to me, and he slapped my hat off my head. And then he asked me if I wanted to go outside. You know, I guess that's anathema of, do you want to go outside and fight? And that's literally all I have. But there were other witnesses to the account, and apparently the account
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I wish. I should. Let me.
So I said to him, I said, well, is he still here? And I said, where is he? Because I was going to confront the guy. And he said, I don't know. I'm pretty sure after that incident, I'm pretty sure he bolted pretty quick because, well,
yeah, you don't want to rustle the bee's nest, do you?
Right.
But presumably you'd had to have bought a ticket.
No, you can walk in. You can walk into the lobby.
So they didn't buy a ticket.
That's all I did. I walked in the lobby and I ran into a bunch of people just walking through casually doing, before and after presentations. So what happened was Karen B did a live stream just before that incident where she went up to this M. Stone character and she was like, hey, why are you here? And basically confronted him on a live stream. And he was, of course, in Jim Panda's Discord server feeding back what was happening live. He was like, oh, Karen B is in my face. And she's asking me all these questions and taking pictures. And apparently he was taking pictures of the conference and posting them on, I don't know, on Discord or online somewhere. So Karen B, because of that, confronted him. And then that must have made him mad because sometime after that is when he confronted Nathan Thompson and slapped his hat off his head.
What?
Bro, you ballers got. Man, listen, y'all got balls. Start coming at it and start slapping people.
Just one of them.
Man, listen.
That could have been.
Yeah, but he ran away.
The aggression.
So he wouldn't challenge Karen B, but he would challenge Nathan?
Well, I wouldn't expect him to challenge Karen B.
Nobody's going to mess with her.
Bunch of soap opera.
I just want to add something there.
Soap opera.
If I was that M. Stone guy and given that choice, I'd probably pick Nathan Thompson over Karen as well. She'd probably kick my ass.
Karen eats Globies for breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, Anthony, you know the legal system, and that's assault, and I'm pretty sure it's battery. So
That's
he could have gone to jail for that if the police had been there.
I could argue that it wasn't assault or battery, but I won't do because I wouldn't want to make it sound as though I'm defending him.
Well, my understanding is any physical contact with someone else in a threatening or harmful manner is battery.
Well, battery is the contact.
It must be a dead battery because there's no charge.
The person arguably.
I was going to stop your interruption, but it was worth it. Go ahead, Anthony.
I could argue that battery is the requirement for physical contact. But if he's only flicked his cap off his head, I could argue that he didn't touch him.
But he's making contact with the hat, which makes contact with the head, producing transference of inertia. So
it's not
the a form of battery.
Like if you let's say you threw a full bottle at him. Well, you didn't touch him, but the bottle did, right? So it's the same argument.
No, not at all. I want Anthony to carry on this line, play this down, because this is Handbags at Dawn. This will get dramatized if we don't play it for what it is. This is a minor incident. What it shows is that the blood pressures of ballers runs high. But carry on, Anthony. I want you to play this down because it needs it.
Well, I could easily argue that there wasn't any physical contact, so battery wasn't satisfied in law. Unless Nathan plays the victim card and plays the "I was genuinely scared," then there's no assault either. Assault is a state of mind; it's not a physical.
Hold up. How is there no physical contact? I'm wearing a hat. Somebody slaps the hat off my head. That's physical contact. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, the battery's got to have. There's got to be the human-to-human contact. Otherwise, it's not battery.
Yeah, I'm wearing the hat. You slapped the hat off my head.
So
you're saying
that's crazy, bro.
What if you throw a wrench at someone? You're not touching them, but that's...
Yeah, we get it now. Okay, let's discuss law. Chris Barry, there is a video in the chat to Danny Faulkner. Dr. Danny Faulkner, I'll bet you he's there today. Can you please give him that video?
Yeah, where's the video?
I put it in the Hangout chat. It's Nathan Oakley video.
In the Hangout, you're both in.
I don't see any message. Can you post it in YouTube?
Post it in
Where would you like it? Where
John.
would you like it posted so QE can give it to you? What's best for you?
Or Master B is fine.
Master
Master,
B.
I'll put it in Master B.
All right. If I see this guy, I will pass the message along.
Now, don't see him. Ask people.
Thompson.
Say, where's Dr. Danny Faulkner? Dr. Danny Faulkner. People are going to tell you where he is. Okay.
And
No,
yeah,
I'm saying I will. I'm just saying if by chance I find him and confront him.
but when you do, this is quite specific. I don't know if you want to get a pen. You got to get the video queued up on your phone, and then gaffer tape it to his eyeballs.
Wouldn't that
Did
be
you
an
say
assault?
glow pen, as in a pig pen?
Wouldn't that be an assault, though?
No, I could argue you didn't touch him. I was just waiting for that. I could argue I wasn't touching him. It was only the gaffer tape.
Hey, I have to drop. So post the video. I'll pull it up on my phone if I can come in contact with this gentleman. I'll play it for him if he allows me.
It's posted in there right now with your name beneath it and arrows pointing to it.
I got it.
Tell him it's a direct challenge to the content of his book.
Yeah. Well, to the claim he made on the radio show the other day.
Cool. All right, guys. I'll do my best.
So thanks, Chris. Good to see you as well. Enjoy the rest of the conference if you're part of it.
Sure, thanks.
Hey, Chris, have someone
Chris,
video you doing. Chris, have someone video you doing it as well.
No, it's just hopefully he'll catch
And
him.
do it with no clothes on.
There's a lot of requests on this request, so I'll do my best.
Gaffer tape. Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
So Eric La, thanks for the super chat, says, "What if they took off my pants without touching me?"
Well, there has to be for it to be a battery. There has to be physical human contact, right? You have to touch
How
the
about a
human.
flying wrench?
If he's flicked the cap off his head, you could argue that there wasn't actually a battery. He's not touched the human.
Well, what if that leaves a mark?
Well,
I'm not
according
saying it would work.
according
I'm
to
just saying that there's an argument.
I mean, I get your
according
point,
to
Riley,
Blind
but,
Sniper.
I mean, where I'm from, the street
According
rule, you
to-
touch my hat, you just touch me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't play that bullshit. No.
Well, then
Sorry.
you're still in the same reference frame.
So thank you, John.
The reference frame, so it doesn't happen.
No.
Go on, Telepan.
No, I
enough
was, trying
somebody's
to
he's
go
just
back to the
looking for
blind
trouble.
sniper. He'd have to change reference frames if he took off his pants for it to be in the battery or assault.
Yeah, when I started reading it, that's what I thought Eric La was on about. I was like, this is going to be about the blind snipers changing pants, but no. But I just, there's so much more useful information that's occurring at that conference. You know, it's a meeting of minds. There's lots of people. It's people pressing the flesh in this community. And that's a thing to be praised. And I just don't want people to go away going, oh, we should be suing some random dick who's knocked another guy's hat off. Come on. What if it's a wrench? Are you having me on? No. He hasn't smacked him in the face with a monkey wrench. He's knocked his hat off. Let's just put this into perspective here. You know, Owen Benjamin was there, for God's sake. Isn't that something that we should be talking about a lot more than some guy knocking some other guy's hat off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally agreed.
Owen Benjamin was great there last night.
Right on. Lots of
But
swearing.
I even discussed the whole situation with the ballers on my show for a little bit as well. And yeah, the management's just, it's logical to throw them out. Owen Benjamin is kind of, he has a lot of issues with society. And if he's going to be subjected to this level of, baller behavior, then he might not want to come back to the conference anymore, you know? So I totally agree. Just throw those idiot ballers out. Nobody cares. They don't have any arguments anyway, or they would have presented it by now.
Why can't they just gather for like socializing with people they talk to all the time online?
Why isn't Danny Faulkner being called out at this conference?
Well, Jaron has been told. Whether he gets to see him, speak to him or not is another question. But
no, not by just me. Why isn't
everybody?
Danny, all right, go ahead. You wanted to talk. Go ahead, Chocolate.
No. I'm feeling what you're saying, but he should be called out by everybody. He's got a book literally called "Refuting the Flat Earth Claims." Yeah, everybody should be calling him out. I'm in agreement.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Not just by me. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Chocolate. I'm saying in general. Why isn't he escorted up on stage to defend his heliocentric spinning ball-tard space monkey religion? Why is that?
The conference isn't about him, is it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's the conference about then?
It's a flat Earth conference.
Not. I don't know. In the same way that you wouldn't want the conference being ruined by the hat flicking off of somebody's head or whatever, would you really want it to be about Danny Faulkner on the launch of his new?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll give you a different comparison. There's a cancer convention, and Mr. Marlborough's there. You not think he should be dragged up on stage?
I don't know. Actually, I'm kind of on the fence.
Oh my God. Maybe that wasn't a great analogy. Maybe we've got people who think various different conspiracies about smoking. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't
I'm just
the best
thinking,
analogy.
would you want the conference being hijacked by some guy with a book who's just going to sell shitloads of books as a result of it?
He's not being hijacked. He's being exposed.
No, the conference being hijacked.
How is the conference being hijacked, Tony?
In the sense that it was never about the guy with his book, but now it seems to be about the guy with his book. It is about
Tony. If someone's in the audience that has made a false claim, and the conference is about the opposite of that, as the Marlboro and smoking example Nathan gave, you think you just not say anything?
I would approach him, and then I would make a point of telling him, everybody in the audience, that this is what he said. It was a lie. This is what he. I don't know. But
that's all. What he's saying.
Hold on. With a bit of 10th man rationale, you're now saying the same as QE, Sleeping Warrior.
I'm just saying, would you want the
Yeah, you kind of did, Riley.
By some baller that's now so. Why give them the platform? You know what I mean?
He's not a typical baller. You got a PhD astronomer. He's the man. He's not your average Joe knucklehead baller. He's got a book out, right? He's made many claims over the past 3.5 years against the flat Earth. He is one of the priests of the heliocentric spinning ball. Well, what else are you going to do? What are we going to do? Sing kumbaya? It's time to strike.
Why are you laughing? I hate that. This is an outrage,
I'm
right? Hold on.
We need to bring the ring to Mordor.
What is an astronomer? What's his purpose in life?
An observer. Right. Let me address why I laughed. The reason I laughed is because on the one hand, you say don't make the conference all about the hat flicking off, but on the other hand, I think the same should be applied against this idiot that's bringing a book out that's probably only going there to tout his book. Why would you want to encourage that?
Not encourage the tout.
Anthony, the
challenge the claims he's making in the book. We're challenging that. He's standing in polar opposition. Now, it's not that he's some Joe with a book that's there punting the book. That might be true. And yeah, you might want to stand in opposition to that also. That's not the point. He's a PhD priest of the religion the conference stands in opposition of.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying that there's a balance between letting that guy hijack the conference by virtue of his presence and his new book that he undoubtedly.
What is this hijacking? Where are you getting this from?
Well, somebody said it in reference to the hat. So
nothing to do with the fucking hat.
Oh my God. The hat, yeah. If you make it about some stupid common assault or battery when someone's knocked a hat off, that detracts from the theme of a flat earth conference. However, a PhD in the subject that you're opposing, that's definitely not hijacking. It's absolutely on topic.
It is, but for me, the other way to look at it is that why would you want this guy dominating when he's there as a guest and he's not being there to do anything pro ball earth? Why would you want to distract away from the conference, which is basically networking?
Yeah, let's distract. Unbelievable. I don't even know why I'm defending this.
I don't there's a disconnect with Anthony, and I don't understand why the disconnect's there. It doesn't make any sense to me, Anthony, what you're saying.
Right, is it a flat Earth conference or is it a thingy Faulkner conference?
He's a priest of heliocentrism. It's not about Danny Faulkner and his book. It's about the priest that is Dr. Danny Faulkner, PhD in astronomy. Not about him personally. He's a priest in this religion that they're opposing at the conference.
I know, but the only beneficiary out of doing that at the conference would be Danny Faulkner and his book. He will benefit.
No, that's a tertiary benefit. That's no no such thing as bad publicity. Tertiary advertising that he might receive is the same as us saying, we've got a string of emails. In this instance, QE has got an email exchange between him and QE, Dr. Danny Faulkner and QE, that refutes his book. Go and buy it on Amazon. It's $16.99. Now, would you say that long term's a good advert? I would argue absolutely, which is what you're saying. A tertiary benefit is he'll get exposure for his book, or him personally. Well, yeah, that's true. But in the face of his expose of his heliocentric priesthood and what he touts, and the conference is in opposition of. So, what are you going to pick?
I see both sides. I'm just saying that ultimately, if you make a deal out of this Danny Faulkner and his thing at the conference is ultimately going to suffer. And is it right that he benefits?
I can't believe what I'm hearing. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Anthony,
how else would you address
no
it
way.
other than informally? What are you going to do? You're going to bring him up and tie him to the stage and put a microphone to his mouth?
You can approach somebody. We're human beings in the same way as the fake redneck rocket scientist just walked up to Neil deGrasse Tyson and started asking him a few questions. Obviously, as an individual human being, it's up to you whether or not you choose to tell that person to sod off. Now, Danny Faulkner is well within his rights to tell Chris Berry to sling his bloody hook.
Well,
it's kind of like the same way Nathan Thompson ran up on George and asked him, his questions. He went live. He said, I see George. I'm going to go ask him questions. It's kind of like that. It doesn't really have to be, let's stop the conference so I can call this guy out. It's just there should be a bunch of people running up on this guy like, hey, we're live. We heard that you got a book talking about you refuting flat earth claims. What's good?
Yeah,
and then go at him right there.
Right, just a quick shout out to Dave Rakier Gafford, who says, expose the fool and the foolishness goes away. Put Danny front and centre. Expose him. Shout out to Dave Rakier Gafford for the super chat. Really appreciate your support.
He was spoken. Hold on. I just got some information that he was spoken of in the introduction to the conference by who's in charge of the conference?
Robbie Davidson.
Robbie Davidson.
Well,
he was brought up in the introduction as being disingenuous. And he's
hold on, it's been done, hasn't it? Mission complete.
Mission complete.
Hold on, let's just all take a breath. There's still
hold
on, chocolate. Right, I'm going to nominate Quantum Eraser. Take a breath and just, for some reason, there's a disconnect with Anthony, and I want this straightening out. I don't understand it. That's why I'm passing it on to you, because I've tried. I don't get it. This makes no sense, Anthony, and I want Quantum Eraser to hopefully reason with you.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't either.
I don't.
I will.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ted, man.
I will. I am a Christian. If I was at that conference, I would go to him on two fronts. One, the scripture and how he reads Genesis and comes up with a heliocentric. I'd like to challenge him there, and then I would challenge him on the QE video and say, "There's a guy who said he has answered, and you have not won all of your arguments. What say you to that? And are you open for a debate?" I would do both those things right to his face.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. But the impression I got when it was presented was that you wanted to get him on stage and like kind of make an example of him there and then. And I'm like, well,
who said stage?
That might work, but wouldn't it hijack the whole point of the conference, which is like networking and good vibes and all that? I mean, maybe.
How about this, Anthony? You're here, Mr. Faulkner. You wrote a book against flat Earth. One of our own, QE, has challenged you and said that he has answered you via email and beat your arguments, what say you? Are you willing for a live debate? Right there. That's the
Listen,
mistake.
I agree, but even if somebody ran up on him that doesn't even know what happened between him and QE, doesn't matter. This guy's got a book called Falling Flat, Refutations of Flat Earth Claims. If I'm a flat earther, I'm challenging you. What flat earth claims have you refuted? Thank you. Like, who are you and what have you refuted? Why are you at a flat earth conference? Meanwhile, you got a book called Refuting Flat Earth Claims. Are you out of your mind? Come on, man. Nah, that's crazy.
Well,
everybody should be running up on him like, hey, guy, what's going on?
I just can't help but think that this ultimately would end up as a platform for him to sell his book rather than to be challenged the way he needs to be challenged. Like, it just seems to be he benefits from this, not suffers any detriment.
Yeah, I covered that. The tertiary benefit of no such thing as bad publicity, which is what this comes under. So he's already getting his publicity out of the conference by the sounds of things. He was in the introduction. So what, if he gets a bit of negative publicity because he's claiming he can refute these... I'm about to put the other spin on it. So in the interest of balance, the guy's there doing his homework on the subject he claims he can refute. In other words, he's keeping up to date with the flat earth debate as far as he's concerned, which is his due diligence, right? Well, there's a few Globers in the audience that have definitely been pummeled here. Now, according to this man, he has the answers that you failed to present to us when you've been smashed. Now, he's out there doing his due diligence, and he's got a book claiming he can refute all of our arguments. That's what he's claiming. So I would suggest, if you were a baller, that you too would be very interested in finding out what he claims to have refuted. Because you lot are getting smashed about left, right and centre, and he's saying, I sit pretty here making money, while you idiots just don't know the right answers. That's what he's telling the radio world.
Yeah, baby, Glober should buy his book. Learn his claims and bring them shits here.
Yeah. See if it was worth the $16.99 on Amazon for his book Falling Flat. Because obviously he's going to be able to give you an answer to how can you have gas pressure without a container, given that he's been asked it in 2016 and failed to give an answer then. Obviously he's gone out and done lots of due diligence. Therefore he will be able to answer this very troubling question all you fundies who come here can't answer.
But he claims that he can, but will he though? Will he actually do it?
He has a book.
How about headlines for the next day? Flat Earth Conference in Dallas. PhD astronomer gets his ass handed to him. How about those headlines?
Yeah, but even if he got his ass handed to him, which we know that he could get easily his ass handed to him, it would still be the headline saying, PhD astronomer hijacks Flat Earth Conference and shows them all a dose of truth.
Yeah.
That's what it'd be, though.
Gives a shit. People are going to look into it, try to confirm it, and then notice that it's a total 180 degrees red herring. What do you think that's going to do?
But by the standard Anthony's using, he's saying, well, we shouldn't ever talk about any globe Earth claims because indirectly you're promoting globe Earth. That's essentially your argument in this regard.
I know, but can you imagine if it was Gem, for example, or Tim
Riley,
would they go on stage and say, this Tim Osman's a piece of shit? No, they just ignore him.
It's not about the guy, it's about the claims.
No, we don't. No, we don't ignore them.
It's not Tim
We expose them.
Osman. This is a PhD astronomer. Hello.
And we don't ignore them. We expose them.
Different.
He also runs an observatory.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a different level. It's not Tim Osman or Zinder.
When
He's a PhD with a book.
To be fair, guys, when it comes to this to science, it's kind of on the same level now, isn't it?
It's just the exposure in the first place. It's like, is he worthy of being given the exposure? That's what I'm pointing out or asking.
Tim Osman is just as much a pseudoscientist as any astronomer.
I would answer that question, Riley. I would say if he's got the balls to have this argument with QE in an email 3 years ago, and now, today, in 2019, he's at the Flat Earth International Conference with a book named Refuting Flat Earth Claims. Yeah, I think somebody should approach him. Yes,
I think they should approach
definitely.
him. I just wouldn't give him any platform or any beneficial platform, tertiary benefit.
He's giving himself the platform by being there with his freaking book. He's putting himself out there. Care about his feelings.
The platform you're talking about, Anthony, is a future platform in the debate with QE. This is a challenge to his claims.
Yeah, I agree. All I'm saying is not giving the platform of hijacking, effectively hijacking the conference itself.
Alrighty then. So hopefully Danny will get the message. He might be sat listening.
Yeah,
You never know.
I'm just saying, don't make a massive deal out of it when it's not about the Danny Faulkner show. Do you know what I mean?
I get you, Riley. Don't turn it into a farce. I get that, but at the same time, this is a guy, PhD, runs an observatory, has a book, and is at the Flat Earth Conference. Same guy who had the exact dispute with Quantum Racer in an email years ago. So yeah, I think he should be not him, but his book and his arguments should be attacked and approached. Definitely.
What's a better platform for that kind of confrontation?
He's there only for one reason, to sell his book and to have peace and quiet around them. Let's allow him to sell his book because that's what he's there for, but let's not give him the peace and quiet. Let's challenge him.
Well said. When the people on the stage at that conference talk about the people that lie to you about the heliocentric world, he is they in this instance. He personifies the priesthood. That's what he is. Not him personally. Yeah, Danny boy, he's probably a very good man. But he is representative of the deception. Him as an individual is the priest in this example.
I know, I understand. It's because of the book, right? Is it not more likely the case that he goes there simply to create a bit of controversy so that it generates book sales, and that's the only reason he's there?
Let him have what he wants. Who cares if he sells a few books?
Yeah, book sales versus YouTube video going viral of a PhD astronomer getting schooled. I mean, I'll take it.
In fact, I'm going to swing the other way. I hope he does sell a few books off the back of this, Anthony, because he's about to get pummeled. So let's hope he gets a consolation prize of some of those Amazon clicks at $16.99 when people read the complete nonsense that's been smashed 3 years ago. So yeah, let's hope he does sell a few crap books that are lies.
Okay.
Selling those books could still help us too.
Yeah, exactly. Keep selling those 2016 arguments that have already been destroyed in your little brand new book. Go ahead. Have fun with that.
But not if you're in this audience. Smash the super chat if you're in this audience.
Hey, Nathan, I got something. Anthony, I have a very close person to me who I tried to share flat earth information with. Guess what? The first video he sent me, and guess who was on it?
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Faulkner.
No. Danny Faulkner.
You joking?
And Danny Faulkner has deceived my good friend. I want his hide.
That's how QE feels.
He may be a mole.
He's a good person.
Big
He's
opposition.
a good person. We're not attacking his person.
Exactly.
I want his hide when it comes to the false arguments. That's the way I mean it.
Exactly. And that's the passion that you're hearing in QE and why he's shutting up when we're discussing it in these personal terms. I mean, no doubt he's of exactly the same opinion. He wants his hide, not because he's a bad man, because he's a representative of the heliocentric deception.
Yeah, I get that. It's the reason why I'm reluctant is because he's got a book and I can only ever see him selling 1,000 books instead of 2.
Who cares?
Stop
Who cares? You don't know. Anthony, how about if I send a video of him losing to QE and unraveling his lies? How many people would benefit from that versus the people who bought his books?
I don't know.
The only people
doesn't matter.
Out of all this,
the people looking to buy his book are looking for a confirmation bias. That's what they're looking for. So what? Let them have it. Good for them.
Yep.
And just again for balance, if you are one of those lost souls, those ballers, now I appreciate that depression runs very thick in your community, and if you choose to take solace in Dr. Danny Faulkner's book Falling Flat, then I applaud you. If it helps you sleep at night whilst trying to square some of those circles and gives you the false illusion for just a moment that you are actually on a spinning ball flying through a sky vacuum, then good for you. You know, sleep's important. Might keep you sane a little bit longer. So go out and buy Falling Flat by Dr. Daniel Faulkner.
But seriously, boys and girls, the longer you postpone it, the worse the backlash is going to be.
Look, I've got to give that disclaimer now. Look, I'm not suggesting to any of these fundy idiots that reading Falling Flat's going to be in any way a long-term solution to the depression that is finding out that you've been lied to about your reality. It's only going to be a temporary measure. But, you know, take that temporary measure and it'll get you half a night's sleep if you're lucky.
Sounds really grim now. But it is.
Got to have some sympathy for these people. They're fighting against it. They're very, very angry. And who can blame them? You know, they want it to be true.
Yep.
Poor glowbeds.
Just wanting it doesn't make it true.
Yeah. Fuzzy little sods. When they're all angry in the chat. Oh, I just feel like ruffling their little heads.
So, if it wasn't clear, FE conference, let me try to be calm. I'm talking to you. When you call this gentleman out, well, you didn't call him out, but you had him in the introduction to the Flat Earth Conference. He's sitting there in the audience. And all you flat earthers are there. And no one's calling this gentleman out. You're the fucking problem!
And with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be definitely more to follow in the after show. However, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley channel, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. And of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G Plus panel for making this live show possible. Be sure to stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980 for the after show, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I totally agree. Yeah, the people sat there not calling him out, they're the problem.
I was about to say that.
But how would you even know who that guy is? I've never seen that face before.
You don't, Arwin. But if you're aware, and we're trying to up the awareness and the outrage level, let's be honest here, because it is an outrage. So that's why I got so snippy with you all when you all chuckled. Like, what are you chuckling about? This is a perpetrator of the deception we're fighting against. I've been sat in this chair for the last 3 or 4 years talking about Flat Earth because he's punting it out to the kids. That's the bottom line here. It's an outrage. And he's in our conference. Let's be honest, it's a conference that we are all now associated with. That's going to be the benchmark for us as Flat Earthers, regardless of what's being said, or whether or not we agree with it. Nevertheless, he's there at our conference, punting a book, saying how wrong we are, when he's the one perpetrating the bullshit. It's absolutely outrageous.
But who allowed it? Did he just
I don't think he can stop it if he's paid for a ticket.
You're missing the point.
The organization definitely can. Definitely.
Not talking about them rostering him in and giving him mic time.
What do you mean? Are you suggesting that he should be given mic time?
No! God, the complete antithesis. No. We're saying if you were at the conference and you were aware that he was amongst your peers as Flat Earthers, you would be of the mindset to go up to him and say, excuse me, why do you tell us we're on a spinning ball in a vacuum? And he says, well, I've got a book to sell. No. You perpetuate this lie. If it wasn't for you and you perpetuating this lie, this conference wouldn't exist.
Yeah, good point.
You know, I should message Nathan Thompson to try to find them, because he would he would run up on him, I think. But yeah, everybody should. Everybody should go live immediately as soon as that guy's in the room and say, "Hey, look who we have here, Mr. Danny Faulkner with a book, Refutation of Flat Earth Claims." So, how do you have a gas pressure without a container? Where's the curvature? Where's that? Where's the rotation? Where's all of that? How did you refute any of that crap?
Exactly. That's the type of mindset we're going for when I say up the outrage level. I mean, not, be have your blood boiling, but think, right, I've got a camera. Most of the people at the conference have got the ability to live stream, and you just set your camera to live and go, right, we're on the hunt to find a PhD astronomer who lies to us. That's what this conference is all about, right? He's been announced as being here. Let's see if we can find him and ask him a few questions. That would be the mindset that I would expect to hear after having it verbalised that somebody who's out there lying with a book punting to the audience of a load of flat earthers, is actually the case. Now, I'm not saying that you should be aware of this or are aware of this, but if you were, like Chris, he's gone, well, yeah, I'll be on the case. And it's just that attitude that you'd hope to install in somebody when there's a cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. He wants to send I think it was 10th Man or Anthony that said, well, he wants to, cause a bit of a ruckus to generate a bit of interest in his book. Well, so he's a cat amongst the pigeons. He wants the pigeons to flap. Well, fine, is what I'm saying. If that's his purpose in being there, yeah, flap pigeons, because you're not pigeons. You're all bald eagles. And he's a little mouse. That's the reality of the situation. A mouse that's been lying and doesn't actually have any proof for the claims he makes. And the refutation claimed to be in his book is bunk. So he needs to be told.
Yeah, act like real pigeons and just shit all over him.
Exactly.
That's what pigeons do.
He let himself into that den. And, so there's no, oh, well, he's going to be getting, back to what I said earlier, I'm not suggesting you put him on stage and slip him in between Taboo Conspiracy and Owen Benjamin. That's not what I'm suggesting.
That's what it sounds like.
And not suggesting either, like, run up on him and slap the book that he's holding out of his hands or slap his hat if he's wearing one. Because that's retarded, right? Attack the arguments. Attack his book. Attack his very presence there, being who he is, a PhD in astronomy, somebody who runs an observatory. Everybody wants to talk about they. Here's they. That's the guy. That's they right there. Full representation. Get him. Exactly. Flat pigeons.
This is a very precise thing we're doing. He's been challenged by QE on something that happened 3 years ago that he's not going to mention in his book, and yet says the opposite about himself on that radio show, that he's debunked and can answer all the flat earth questions. So from the stage, in the very narrow challenge, one of our own, Quantum Eraser, said he answered your questions and he wants to do a live debate. And you on the radio show said you've never lost and you can answer any flat earther. Are you up for this?
Why even do that? Why not have somebody at the Flat Earth conference, flat earther, they're supposed to be competent, just expose them themselves. Why do I even have to be there? I already gave you all the ammunition for 3.5 years. Dr. Danny Faulkner has attended each major U.S. conference. The hierarchy of the Flat Earth Conference knows him. Personally, they have spoken to him. I know this.
Okay. Well, in that
case,
but
QE.
If he's been on for such a long time, then challenge him. Say, okay, you can sell your book here. If you're gonna go in a live debate, you can't walk away from.
No. Right,
why not?
I'm going to paraphrase what QE has said. No, just let me do it. because Kiwi can't do this himself because he's
I'm not
already
talking
done
about
it.
Kiwi.
Give me a second, Arwin. So no, not go. You must be in a debate with somebody. Go up to him and say, "How can you have gas pressure without a container?"
Yeah, that's the bit I agree with. I just got the impression that you wanted him on the mic, on the stand, on the stage, like challenging him like a debate style. But that would be the worst thing that could be done.
No, it would be on record.
What the fuck? Because did my ears just deceive me? Did you just say that somebody exposing this man would be the worst thing that could happen? Is that what you just said?
No, I said it sounded like you were trying to get him on stage almost. To try and debate him almost at the conference and basically give him
Yeah. So let's say I was there. Right, I'm not, but let's say I was on the front row and I happen to know that he was sat next to me. In other words, ideal circumstances. I'd hint to whoever's running the show what I was going to do so I didn't get dragged off stage, make sure that it was all cool. And then at a given moment, I would walk on stage and say, "I'd like to introduce you all to Dr. Danny Faulkner." And he'd step up on stage. And before he got a chance to breathe, I'd say, "How can you have gas pressure without a container? What's your scientific..." Hold on. Stop chuckling, Arwin.
Oh, sorry.
How can you have gas pressure without a container, Dr. Danny Faulkner? How have you got the gall to assert we have the bending of a conceptual medium to give rise to a not actual force called gravity? What's your scientific evidence for this assertion? What's your proof for the presupposition that we have a radius value, spherical, for an Earth that you presuppose is a sphere?
So who would you then say? I'm sorry, candidate A. Let's just say it was Bob Nodell, for example. I'm sorry, Bob. You were planned to go on stage, but we've just realised that this Danny Faulkner's here, and we're going to give your slot to Danny.
He's already covered all that. He already said he would have already spoken to whoever's running the shit. He would have had it set up and all good to go, so he doesn't get dragged off the stage for being crazy, and just say, "Hey, look, it's my time." I go up there and I say, "Hey, hi," introduce Mr. Danny Faulkner, and call him out and ask him, "How the hell do we have gas pressure without a container?" And let him respond in front of everybody.
Why is there such the negative approach towards my view, which is ignore him and just let him just coexist there, but not give him any limelight? Why is my approach so bad?
Okay, can I answer that? Because what that question implies, Anthony, is that you would choose a humble kumbaya community over the expose of the lie.
I just wouldn't give him the mic time.
You wouldn't give somebody who's overtly lying and publishing a book about it, and amongst your peers publishing that, punting that book, the time to be humiliated with his lack of answers for any of these questions that, given that we already have hindsight that he doesn't know the answers to them, you wouldn't want him demonstrating that he couldn't answer them on a stage, potentially being filmed, as a PhD representative of this heliocentric religion, which the conference stands in opposition of. Is that what you're saying?
In the conference example, in the conference scenario, no, I wouldn't even entertain the idea of it, because why would you want him to have the limelight?
Because he is a representative of the very thing the conference stands in opposition of.
Yeah, I get that, but it's the conference of our side. It's not a debate conference where that's the kind of thing that's happening. It's a
but he's there. He's there, and that's the problem.
Hold on, Arwin.
You can't just ignore.
So what is the point?
He's not there, like ballers typically do with everything. He's there. Deal with it.
Yeah, we know, Arwin. We know he's there. Thank you for that interruption. So what is the point of the conference?
Whatever they've got lined up. So Bob, Jaron, Karen, ABC doing their thing. Why does this? I don't see why this guy would be given the limelight just because he happens to be there. Half the groups that are there probably.
Why do we give limelight to any of these ballers that come here?
It's not the same though, is it? This is designed as a debate.
Yeah, but here's the problem: it's not the same. It's on a completely different level. We'll give time to people like Brenda and Zanuck here, right? But you're saying that somebody who has written a book, PhD, runs an observatory, shouldn't get time to have his arguments destroyed in front of massive amounts of people? Nah, I don't agree there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Get him.
I'm not against getting him. I just wonder whether or not it's actually a valuable use of the costs, the stage, the performance of the people. Is that really what they're going for, or are they going for something that's
what I asked? That's what I just asked. That's what I just asked. So what is the point of the conference then?
Is it to try and expose Danny Faulkner? And right, listen, my view on it is the only beneficiary out of doing anything like that is going to be Danny Faulkner's book sales. Why give him that platform?
So you believe that the only benefit of having a PhD priest of the religion that's being taken apart and is the namesake of the conference would only benefit him in book sales, rather than expose a PhD priest of the religion the conference stands in opposition to being exposed live for the audience there? You think that the kumbaya community just needs Bob and whoever talking on stage? That's what you think?
I think it would be a great contrast, really.
No, what I'm saying is, why give the guy the platform?
To show the contrast.
Why debate with one of the high priests of the subject matter in question? I don't know. It seems pointless, really. Let's just listen to Bob.
Why attack an enemy general when you can just go after the grunt soldiers, right?
No, not go after the grunt soldiers. Just listen to the campfire stories by the sound of things.
I just don't see why giving him the limelight would be
contrast.
No, my bad. I'll make a self-correction. No, they are going after the grunt soldiers. We've had some pathetic nobody called George Netanyahu had the camera shoved in his face, even though he's a pathetic nobody, literally, who lies through his back teeth and has been exposed 10 times already. He's got people up in his face, but a priest apparently shouldn't get mic time because he's got a book for sale.
And he still doesn't understand Coriolis.
My point is that, yeah, you're saying, oh, well, go after the grunt soldiers. Yeah, well, there's a grunt soldier that's been gone after. And what, the priest? What, leave him be? Let him just get less book sales because he doesn't flap the pigeons?
I just think that he shouldn't have the benefit of the stage and the mic time just just because he's got a book. It's like, I can only see one winner here, and that would be Danny Faulkner.
So what are you suggesting as an alternative? He's banned? He's no longer allowed to come?
Well,
is that your alternative? Because I don't know any other direction to go with your argument here.
Just ignore him. Just why does he need to have the limelight? I don't see why they would. I don't get it.
Let me answer. Why does he deserve the limelight? Because he's the they in this lie being discussed there.
But he hasn't paid anything for anything, yet he's been given, like, what you're saying is, like, allow him to have the freedom of the service that's on offer for the people.
No, that's not what I said. You're putting words in my mouth. I said, under ideal circumstances, if he was sat on the front row with me and I was there with permission to go on stage and debate him, I'd drag his ass up on stage and I'd ask him every single one of the housekeeping questions and pull apart any crap he came with as a rebuttal. That's what I'd do, whether he liked it or not, because he's there on the front row in ideal circumstances. Now, that's not to say that he should be dragged on stage in not ideal circumstances by someone who's not me. But I'm saying, by contrast or comparison, a grunt, by comparison, has had someone get right up in their face and say, what about Coriolis, you lying sod? You punt this shite. Let's see your argument. What about the guy whose career you attacked, you sod? Why are you now lying about it and saying you haven't even contacted anybody about him? All of that stuff's getting exposed. But yet a priest who's there punting a book apparently can't have the same exact treatment or anything like that kind of treatment. In fact, he hasn't even been approached. He's just been announced at the intro and nobody's up in his face. So I'm not saying that we should achieve ideal circumstances. And you're taking it one step further and saying, give him the open mic. No, there's a very big difference between me dragging him up on stage unannounced but cleared with the owners of the conference to hold him to task. But that could easily be done if someone had a live stream on their phone.
Yeah, that I would say is right. But what I'm just reminded of that fucking, what was his name? The guy with the blonde curly hair. What was his name?
Paul Logan.
Yeah, Paul Logan.
Totally when he got unrelated to anything.
When he was given the green lights, when he was
Logan
given
Paul.
Whatever.
Yeah. When he was given the VIP treatment just because of who he was, look how that ended up. It didn't go well for us, did it? So all I was thinking is, why give this guy the benefit?
False equivalence fallacy from the Black Friggin' Lagoon. Unbelievable.
I just don't see how we.
Paul Logan is a media stunt guy, a troll. Okay,
If you don't
this
see it
person
by now,
that comes here is our opponent, and
if
he's
you don't see
literally
it by
worming
now,
himself among us.
after 30 minutes of explaining it to you, then you're not going to see it. So I don't see the point anymore. I'm not calling you out, Anthony. I'm calling out the heads of that Flat Earth conference, not the people in there. No. No, they have their own problem looking in the mirror. I want the heads of that conference who announced him in the intro.
I totally agree with you, John. It is kind of ridiculous. Why give him a room, you know? He may be allowed his free speech for some reason, but why actually give him a seat on the market, as it were? It's ridiculous. I don't get it.
Unless you're going to give him that seat in order to hold his toes to the fire.
Yeah, that would be the only good reason to do that.
When you're in a war and an enemy general walks into your camp, do you sit there and hand him a spoon and a bowl of soup? Hey, sit down with us. Have fun. Hey, everybody,
No.
he's here. And then
No, but
that's it?
But that's not the same venue, though, is it? The venue that they're in right now is a kumbaya setup, isn't it? It's networking, a positive thing for Flat Earth to spread awareness and all that. I still can't see how he's the only one that would ever benefit from being called out in that scenario.
Gotcha. That's what I wanted. Finally got there in the end. So what you're essentially saying is that conference is not about the expose of the lie and the liar. It's about a kumbaya gathering of people to hold each other's dicks.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not really about the dick holding. It's the fact that he would benefit directly out of.
You said it 15 times, Anthony. Right? He is the purveyor of this lie. And your argument for him not getting exposure is that indirectly he'll make book sales. And that ultimately the conference is about holding each other's hands and pressing the flesh. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm all for those things. Until one of the liars you're standing in opposition walks in there. Why isn't there somebody holding him to task?
Exactly.
I'm not against him being held to task. I'm just thinking that he's going to be the only one that benefits. That's all.
How is he going to be benefited from literally being exposed, not being able to answer flat earth questions when that is the foundation of his book claim? I don't get you, Anthony.
There is, to answer you, Arwin, there is a very specific way that he can have that benefit. And that would be if some crayon-munching flat earther goes up to him and starts talking about how the azimuthal equidistant projection is a representation of our world, or how the sun and moon are 4,000 miles away, or any other number list of shite arguments that he's probably debunked in his book. That'll definitely benefit him.
Yeah. But we still got the housekeeping question, so...
So is Anthony just presuming we would
hold on,
lose the
Jibby, sorry.
confrontation?
We've still got the housekeeping questions. So in my example, where the purveyor of this nonsense we're standing in opposition to gets dragged on stage by me to be asked, how the hell do we have gas pressure without a container, Mr. I lie about the world you stand in opposition to, entirety of this audience? Why isn't anybody asking him that?
I agree. Well, there may be another reason for it, and that is that everybody's just too drunk on the kumbaya, because the atmosphere is kind of buzzing. I personally experienced that during the Amsterdam conference. So that type of positive intoxication may just be kind of a pushback into even wanting to get hardcore with the opponent. So that may be part of it as well. Just people are too happy.
Yeah, Anthony already said that. That's not what the conference is about. Challenging the man who lies to you. It's about having a nice drink together and holding each other's hands and saying how nice it is to actually talk to other people who stand in opposition of the man you're having a coffee with at the moment.
I'm just pointing at it. It's not a good reason for that. It's just logical that there's an intoxicating side effect to it by accident.
Yeah, suddenly you forget what the whole thing's about.
Yeah, in a way.
I don't even see any reason that it would have to get to a point of just being, just mean about it. Just walk up to him the same way Nathan walked up to George. Like, hey, guy, what's going on?
No, I like the point.
Are you that guy that made that call? And have him answer, and then when he asked him, well, what did you and Nathan talk about? Oh, Coriolis. Oh, so let's get into that. I mean, it doesn't have to be, yo, motherfucker, like, get over here, you know. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be a friendly conversation. Just, hey, so how do we have gas pressure without a container?
But I think we did lose the reason why we do this. A lot of people. I've been complaining about this for a long time, that these flat earth meetups are nothing more than just social parties. Why are you even meeting up? It's to network. It's to share information, resources, work together. Not just sit, have drinks and party, and let's do it again next week. Let's do it again next week. Nothing's getting done.
But it's also about resonating, about actually feeling in person, not just over the internet, that there's others out there, that it's real. It is also that.
Great. And then, okay, thank you. Hug, handshake. Let's get to work. You know, this business, we don't have infinite time here. We're dropping like flies. Like,
oh, really?
health-wise.
Are we dropping like flies? I don't
Health-wise, yeah.
Others are dropping like flies.
No, flat earthers are not dropping. I'm saying, like, we're dropping dead. Like, we don't have infinite time. We're getting cancers. We're getting all these wacky diseases.
No. That is totally senseless fear porn.
No, that's not what he means, Arwin. What he means is you
where I
have a
grew up-
finite amount of time.
Where I grew up, there isn't one family I know that doesn't have somebody who has cancer or died from cancer.
Yeah, that's right. And then you learn about it, and then you can prevent it. If you're going to assume it's all going to be exactly like that, despite your knowledge about
Try to prevent this with your family.
Arwin, that's
See
not
if your
the point of
family
this.
will leave you over the white coats.
Arwin, hold on, Jibby. That's not the point he's trying to make, though. You know, you're taking it away from his actual point. The defining of having limited time here is not relevant to his point. He's saying that I don't want to paraphrase what you're saying, Jibby. Carry on. Just don't sidetrack it onto this whether or not we die of cancer or not.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to go off road like that, but basically that's how I see it, though, is we need to get to business here. Like, how long is this going to take before we really make an impact? I suggest things like let's have group meetups outside television stations and take shifts so we're always there until they acknowledge us.
Why?
Because then we can confront them on television. Get your best. We'll do this live. Take this seriously.
It makes no sense. As we are doing our thing, literally the entire monolithic television station system corporations out there are getting more and more and more distrusted, more and more discredited. Why would we want to cozy up
why slow down
try
on
to take over? No.
Why slow
We just
down?
keep on doing what we do and let them crumble naturally.
Yeah, but they're crumbling because they're crumbling because we do what we do.
Of course.
Right? So why slow down? Keep
Let us do
going.
what we do. And let's not try to cozy.
Yeah, but when given the opportunity, but Arwen, but when given the opportunity with somebody like this who shows up somewhere like that, okay, full of flat earthers, come on. You can't say that you should just shun just look away from that opportunity.
Right. So where Jibby's talking about hijacking or going into police stations, TV stations, and getting the awareness out by way of their broadcasting method, we've got our own stage. This is the point of this discussion. We've got our own stage, and what we're not going to put the enemy on our own stage that we have control of.
While we still have control of it.
Yep.
To be fair, if I was the organizer or the head organizer of a Flat Earth conference, the only reason I would allow an official ball believer to be part of it is under condition that he would be publicly subjected.
Hey, hold on a second. Nathan, is Discord disconnected?
No, Discord's still connected.
So hard.
According to people in Discord, it's disconnected. They can't hear you.
Oh, no worries. I'll refresh it.
Okay. I got another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in the middle of a sentence.
Sorry.
For fuck's sake, dude.
Conducted in such a way that people can make observations at the conference.
You can
go, hey, look across there. You know, we can all set up. We can use each other's equipment. You know. a chance to share equipment.
Right. So many of us are already doing that. Just meeting one another and say like, oh, I got that, let's do this. And yeah, there's flat earthers everywhere. If you think it's only on that side of the flat earth, you're wrong. Because even I, as I went into the Amsterdam conference, just bumped into so many Dutch people. I wasn't even prepared for that. But they're everywhere. Like, point anywhere.
Fuck, in Netherlands, you'll end up on
Within
the other
5
side
miles,
of the
there's a
Pacific.
flat earther you don't know. No matter where you are. Except maybe
Bro, I created one here at my job yesterday as I was on the debating somebody at my job. Right? I gave him all the main points. He came in this morning, was like, "Hey, what's up, brother?" He's like, "Hey, what's up, man? It's a beautiful day, and I think Earth is flat." I just looked at him like, "What?" Fantastic, brother.
Sorry to interrupt over technical issues. Can somebody give a radio check to Discord, please?
Yeah, that's the dude we were just
Check.
listening to.
Discord. Check.
Yeah. This Discord. I'm in Discord. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Radio check.
Okay.
Yeah, Discord's fine.
Finally. Hey, I've been trying to say something here for the last 15 minutes, and thank you for refreshing, Nathan.
Sorry.
Anthony, you keep talking about the limelight. I'm more interested in shining the light on the lie, the darkness. I want to shine the light. I don't care about the limelight. Let's shine the light on the darkness. You got a wolf inside a chicken coop. You're not going to say, sit here in the front row, but just don't do anything with my chickens.
The chickens have hatched.
Just want to add Anthony as ace because he's played devil's advocate this whole time, so we can have this conversation. So, thanks.
4 more hours.
7 more minutes.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
Secure that shit, Hudson.
Secure that shit, Hudson.
Again, in the interest of balance, all of the things that were said about the positivity, the glad handing, the community spirit, all those things still stand true about the conference. I don't want anyone to take that passionate discussion specifically about an individual, not personally, but about him and what he represents, being at the conference to in any way make people feel like we feel negative about it, because we don't. I've attended plenty of them. It'd be nice to have been at that one. It looks like it's a lot of fun, and they are. And it is nice for all the reasons that have been listed and argued about. It just isn't the point in this regard. So don't let anybody take away that we're in any way trying to smear the conference. We're not. That's not the purpose either, just in case anyone...
Are they trying to take the fox out of the chicken coop?
Yeah. Exactly. Just trying to get the fox out of the chicken coop.
I was on the phone. Did anybody ask me anything?
No, I gave you props for putting the other side of the argument, though, so it could at least be argued about. I think it's my mental way of justifying this cognitive break you're having, so I don't get annoyed with you about it.
I know I just think that it's the wrong venue for him to benefit from. I mean, what better scenario would it be for him to go back to his publishers and say, "Do you know what? I went to that Flat Earth conference, right? And they all picked a fight with me." Or if he went back and said, "Do you know what? I went to the Flat Earth conference, right? And I didn't even get a fucking they completely ignored me. I was expecting them to suck me dick. I just completely ignored the fucker."
No worries.
Who was on the phone? Who was on the phone?
Yes.
What?
Who was on the phone? Jane Fonda?
Who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
Well, how can they completely ignore him when they announced them?
Well, I don't know whether that. I don't know how it happened or whatever. Oh, doesn't
Yeah, you
matter.
didn't know that when you were arguing this at the start. I realised that, Anthony. Don't worry about it.
You what? Say that again.
So you
Nathan.
didn't know that at the start. It
I
was
said,
only when QE pointed it out.
How did they ignore him if they announced them through the PA system at the conference from what QE said?
Yeah, he heard, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And I was like, "Yeah, you didn't know that when you were first arguing this point, which is it's just one of those things." But that's why I gave you props, because you carried on the argument. I assume because you wanted the argument to be exhausted rather than having a terribly large cognitive break in this regard.
Well, I just don't think that I would give him the time of the day in the conference.
Anthony, I said I wouldn't worry about the limelight. I rather shine the light on him and expose his arguments that fall flat, like his title of his book.
Yeah.
And the reason I said have QE challenge him, because I know nobody there will.
Who are challenging? Mick West.
They've had all these years, these flat earthers that put on these conferences.
Who are they
They have
challenging?
all these years to learn and gain knowledge, and then here they are, and they have the perfect opportunity to display it right there from a guy who wrote a book against them. Oh,
All right, let me change one variable.
Can you please just say the guy's name again?
That's
Danny
my point.
Faulkner.
Right, hang on. Let me just argue it slightly with a slight change.
Repeat the name, please. Repeat the name.
Dr. Danny Faulkner. Dr. Danny Faulkner.
Thank you.
Right, let me just change one variable, and then maybe you can see my position. If it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'd agree with you. It's just some dude with a PhD. Is it worth giving him that attention?
Yes.
He lied to my friend.
Yes.
He lied to my friend, Anthony. My friend's in a deceptive mode, because how he says this guy's got a PhD, he's an astronomer, he's a Christian. My friend won't even talk to me about this. He is a Neil deGrasse Tyson to me.
I know, but I'm not saying that he is Neil deGrasse Tyson. What I'm saying is, if it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, sure, put him on the stage and lynch him, right? He knows his shiz.
Why
Because
not
he's worthy of it, isn't he?
Why not
Neil
him?
deGrasse Tyson has already said he won't debate. He won't debate flat earthers.
George Nathaniel or anybody else. Just ignore him.
Anthony, what's the name of his book? He doesn't know
So
what
if you're
he's
gonna
talking
say,
about.
wait,
What's
if you're
the name
gonna
of
say
his
just
book?
ignore him, why did you call him out the other day on your video?
I just
What
don't
would be
think
the point of that?
place to do it. That's all.
Yeah, but you're giving him attention that way.
Anthony's putting the argument forward. Don't highlight too many contradictions here, Chocolate. You know, we want this conversation to continue because it's highlighting.
My bad.
You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
Have I contradicted myself?
Let's brush over that. That's not important. You're holding the position that no, it's not reasonable. We shouldn't be putting this PhD astronomer who promotes the subject matter of the conference on the stage because he might get book sales out of it. Now, if I was to give you a scenario where you actually wanted to expose a PhD astronomer on stage at the conference, would you not say to a PhD that's got a book out at a little dangly hook, you can promote your book from a stage?
All right. So if right, let me ask you this then: if George Musa turned up, would you still have the same view?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be right in front. He'd be the first person I made a beeline for with my camera.
Yeah, I would personally, but like from the context of the organisers of the conference, I'd just ignore him. I'd laugh at him. I wouldn't even mention his name.
What is he, the editor of Popular Science?
Scientific America.
Scientific American. So
Yeah.
he's... Let me get this
I just
straight.
ignore him. I don't really see the interest from the conference's point of view.
They're the ones that you're standing in opposition of. That's why.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, but we don't need their interact. I mean, maybe I've just got it the wrong end of the stuff. I don't know, but
The publication that George Musa represents is Scientific American. So, of the stuff that George Musa has stated, name one thing he's talked about that we've discussed that had any science about it whatsoever.
I get it.
No, I'm going to go further point. So what you're saying is a book read by potentially members of the audience and a vast number of people across the states, and calls itself science, the very subject we talk about here, strangely enough, the hijacking thereof, something else we talk about here, strangely enough, and how that is the nature of the deception. That would be somebody that maybe just needs leaving alone, even though he's literally the pseudoscience that we stand in opposition of.
that would be somebody that does what, Nathan? The high pitch bit, I didn't know. What I'm getting at is, why would you give him the limelight? That's all I mean. Because
he's
the benefit of it.
Because the words he writes in his publication under the banner of science are the very lies that the conference is about.
They're not
Riley,
serious.
I get it. I get it at heart. You're a real nice guy, and I get it. Maybe it seems like you just don't want to attack the guy or make it seem. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be even considered to be in attack mode as far as the person, but the arguments, those have to be approached, because his book is called "Falling Flat: Refutation of Flat Earth Claims" or something like that, right?
You have to,
So
you have to
why
go with
would
a
you
bunch of
not?
prepared questions based on his assumptions.
Yeah.
Hey,
Why would you not
if
try to get him live? Even if whatever happens gives him a few more book sales, whoop de fucking do, right? You get him live on camera, on a live stream or something, absolutely fumbling when asked questions that obviously none of these globals have been able to correctly answer. What could be more better than that?
I agree.
So let him get a few more book sales. Who cares? But if in a year people are throwing his book out in the street and burning it or whatever, like who cares? Because it's going the wayside along with the freaking heliocentric model that doesn't actually exist.
Perfect. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G Plus panels for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!